All right, we are here. I'm not going to say the game of the year because I'm still going to save that one for Michigan and Ohio State. But man, Texas and Oklahoma, could they have made this game any more hyped? Both coming in at 5-0. You've got storylines and headlines all over this game. But today, I am joined by a special guest. I don't think you've ever been here on the channel. I don't think you've ever been on this podcast. But I'm joined today by Nino's Corner. How you doing?
What's up, PG? I'm good, man.
Well, you know what to do. Tell everybody where to find you at.
Hey, man. YouTube, it's going to be Nino's Corner Sports. Twitter, Instagram, anything else, it's just Nino's Corner. So,
all right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into it because everybody's here. They're here to listen or watch, whatever you guys are doing. Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube. You guys are here to hear what we think is going to happen in this game. And, it's kind of weird to say that because this is Oklahoma, Texas. Anything's going to happen. But the headlines for this game, both teams are undefeated since I think it's 2011. Mm-hmm. And this kind of has the feel of 2008 because whoever wins this game, they're going to the playoffs. They're at that time, it was the national championship in 2008. And Texas' schedule kind of lines up the way it did in 2008 because you guys have to play Texas Tech at the end of the year. So how funny would it be if you guys were, undefeated all the way to that point? Sorry, I shouldn't bring that up. That'd be a lot of harsh feelings for Texas fans there. But no, I mean, this game really does have that feeling. Bringing back those 2008 vibes. Oklahoma got blown out last year, 49-0. And what we consider probably one of the, if not the worst loss in this rivalry, although it's not the biggest margin of victory, it was completely humiliating. And then Dylan Gabriel, he's able to play this year, right? So hopefully we expect a different game. I think a lot of people are expecting a defensive battle. So, what are just some of your initial thoughts around this game this year and, what you're going to be looking for?
Man, look, I just want to see how the Texas defensive line is going to stack up against the interior O-line for, OU. I think Texas defensive line it's one of the best in the country. I think it's probably by far the best in the conference. And I want to see if OU can run on that defense. I don't think they'll be able to. If Texas can make this a one-dimensional game and we force, OU to pass the ball a lot, I like our chances. I do. I like our chances as long as our safeties can't cover the damn deep ball. We've been having problems with that lately.
Well, you know what? Oklahoma has not done very well on the passing game in this game specifically for a couple of years. I mean, if you remember that Xavier Worthy, it was like a bubble screen that he caught one year and took it 75 yards to the house. It's like, and this became like a common theme against Oklahoma and Texas is, who's going to win in the passing game. But no, when I look at some of the keys for Oklahoma, you actually touched on some of those things right there. So I'm just going to go ahead and dive right into it. The keys for Oklahoma is they got to be able to run the ball well. And that's not something we've seen them do this season. They've been alternating between these backs, really trying to figure it out as Gavin Sawchuk and Javonte Barnes are trying to get healthy. And I know there's some conspiracy theories like, hey, maybe they're trying to hide them so Texas forgets about them. Texas ain't going to forget about those dudes. They see them trot out in the field. They're going to have a game plan ready for both of them. But I will say, as Sawchuk got to come back last week, you hope that he gets more reps in practice and you can see that initial speed on the outside for him. And then Tawee Walker, I don't think he's going to be able to do much in this game because, like you said, that Texas defensive line is so good that Tawee Walker being more of a power back, he's not going to be able to do that to the Texas defense all game. So Oklahoma's got to be able to get to the outside. And in my opinion, for Oklahoma to win this game, they got to have a running back over 100 yards.
It ain't happening.
Yeah, but additionally, you talked about it. Offensive line, they must win against the Texas defensive line because the Texas defensive line has allowed 13 sacks this season. 8.5 were by the defensive line. The rest have been by the linebackers. So, Texas defensive line is really, really good. I think you guys are only allowing 80 or 90 yards in the rush game.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's less than 100, a game. So. Look, they've been really good, man. I've been very impressed with them. Having Sweat come back this year was outstanding. Him being 6'3", 360. He's been a plug, man, with great feet. Byron Murphy is a dog. Alfred Collins is like the light switch has finally kind of come on for him, which was it's like thank God. And now look, Vernon Broughton has really popped on tape. And then having Baron Sorrell and the Ethan Burks, those guys in the edges. I mean, they have played extremely well on that line, and they've rotated well too. So with them having the depth with like a Terrell Carter, and look, it's been very good to see for the Texas defensive line, something that we haven't had that strong in quite some time.
Yeah, no, 100%. This is Texas has probably been one of the better teams that I've seen on defense just all year. And you guys have been tested. I mean, you guys had to play Alabama. You guys have already had to play Kansas.
Yeah.
And although it wasn't Jalen Daniels, Bean has caused problems for other people before.
Yeah, he put up 42 on OU last year.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like Texas hasn't been tested in the terms of the teams that they've played. So it's going to be a good test. If this offensive line is as good as we think it is for Oklahoma, they should be able to stand the test against the Texas defensive line. And that's something that they got to do. They got to be able to protect the quarterback. They got to be able to open the holes for the running backs. And then the third thing is OU's got to continue adjusting well in the second half. And so I went and I pulled this stat for both teams. So Oklahoma in 5 games has only allowed 24 points in the second half, averaging 4.8 points in the second half versus the 40 that they've allowed in the first half at an 8-point average. 4 out of the 5 fourth quarters that Oklahoma has played, they've shut out their opponents. And 3 out of the 5 third quarters, they've been shutouts as well. So Texas, on the other hand, 3 straight fourth quarter shutouts, allowing 9 points averaged in the second half. So usually in the second half is when you see Oklahoma play their best ball offensively and defensively. So for Oklahoma, you've got to be able to adjust well. You've got to take your offense out there. And if Texas is allowing 9, you want to get to that 9 or 10 points in the second half. But then additionally, you want to hold Texas to a donut in that second half.
But it's crazy because the biggest knock on Sark for his first 2 years was that they would start off fast and not close games well. Now it's the opposite. You know, we're moving the ball in the first half and not scoring a lot of points. But he's adjusting, you know, after halftime. And that second half, they are running away with games in the second half. That's where Texas is really scoring like the bulk of their points. So it's going to be interesting. Somebody's defense is going to break this weekend, and I can't wait to see who it is, man.
Hey, break, but you know, this could end up being a defensive battle. But go ahead and give me, what are some of the keys for Texas to be able to go out here and win this game?
Oh man, I just did like a whole episode about this earlier. So the keys for Texas, man, is Jonathan Brooks. He has to be that guy. And I think people thought that there was going to be a huge drop off in the running game this year since we lost Bijan and also Rojo. You know, I've said in multiple podcasts that I thought actually going into this season that the Texas running game was going to be comparable to what we had last year, because I thought the offensive line was going to mature and grow together and have a better offensive line for these backs. And that has happened, but also I think people kind of forgot how good Jonathan Brooks is. Jonathan Brooks so far this year, after not starting for 2 games straight, if I'm not mistaken, he has only 30 yards less than what Bijan had last year at this time. And he had a better game against Bama, you know, so he actually closed the game out for us. He's played outstanding. I think, you know, last week he averaged 10 yards a carry. You know, he had 3 explosive plays last week, 1 of 65 yards. I mean, he's been running the ball quite well. Very, very just happy to see that. So having that happen with the running game, that's one key. And I think Texas should be able to do that running right behind Campbell, you know. But I think the thing that my second point is the tight end play. All right. So JT Sanders is outstanding, but he did have an injury last week. We won't find out from the media here until tomorrow exactly if he's going to be limited, you know, on Saturday or not. If he's not, then look, I'm very comfortable with my pick. If he is limited, we got to see exactly who's going to step up and be tight end number 2. You know, so just from that previous game, Sark's been running out like a jumbo lineup, having the 6 offensive linemen come in and be that second tight end. So if that happens, he's going to try to play bully ball. And so he might try to slow actually just kind of slow that game down. But we have passed a lot out of that jumbo package too. So we'll see what happens with that. And my third thing is our safeties have to contain. They got to not get lazy and, you know, just kind of look in the backfield. We've gotten beat a couple times this year deep, you know, so that's all like on the safeties, and that has to get better. PK is kind of crisping things up in that fourth quarter last week, moving Jalen Catalon and also Derek Williams, you know, as the starting safeties in the fourth quarter, right? And so that kind of shores some things up, and maybe he, I think he probably found something here for this next coming game.
Yeah, and when you look at it, Oklahoma's really good at the deep balls. Andrell Anthony is a guy that I believe his longest catch of the season is 55, Jalil Farouk 49, Nick Anderson 52. You have Jaden Gibson at 41, Brennan Thompson, former Texas player.
Yeah, I saw that last week.
Yeah, they are really good at catching those deep balls, getting past those safeties in those corners. So when you look at the talent that Oklahoma has in that wide receiver corps, it's definitely going to be key for Texas to be able to go in there and contain that. What's going on with CJ Baxter? Is he going to play in this game? Because
hell yeah,
because I thought he was going to be a key to this season for Texas, right? And I know he's got 37 carries for 157 yards, which for a true freshman, that's probably pretty good. But you've got that offensive line to show for it.
Yeah, but I think people kind of forget how good Jonathan Brooks was, man. So Brooks was, in my opinion, the best running back in the state of Texas coming out of high school. In his year, he just went to a smaller school, and so that was a good eval from the previous staff. But Jonathan Brooks has been everything as advertised. So he's waited his turn here. He sat behind Bijan, sat behind Rojo. He's got his shot, and he's been outstanding. He has great vision, great balance. Really good speed as well. And so, look, he's a guy that's kind of taking the bull by the horns here, man. And but Baxter comes in. He's a great receiver out of the backfield. Baxter is. He had a perfect one-handed catch last week and took it for about 20 yards or so. But he's 1B. So Jonathan Brooks is 1A. He's 1B. He's a strong back, but look, he's a freshman, and I think that's the problem that Texas has had in the past was just kind of always depending on the freshman to come save the team. Look, we got a shiny 5-star freshman in Baxter, but we don't have to depend on him to be that guy for us. We got a nice seasoned veteran who's going to go to the league here pretty soon, and then have Baxter behind him getting some snaps as well.
Now, what are the keys for Quinn Ewers here? Because he has definitely improved in the pass game this year. 66% of his passes. He's only thrown 1 interception. He's been sacked 9 times. So I haven't seen a lot of Texas games, so I'm not sure if that's he's not getting the ball out quick enough or the offensive line is just not as good in pass protection as they are in the run game. But, what do you guys need to see out of Quinn Ewers?
Quinn just has to be Quinn. Be poised. Be calm under pressure, which honestly, once he is under pressure, he passes very well, to be honest with you. He's been hitting the deep ball this year too as well. Last year we can hit the deep ball for anything, but this year he has been outstanding. Give me a second here, PG. I'm actually pulling up how many explosive plays he has for the season. This year alone, Quinn has 20 explosive plays so far this year, which are plays either him running the ball for 15 yards or more or passing for 20 yards or more. Last year was completely horrible. We had 36 for the total of the year last year. He's already halfway there with just 5 games in. So, man, he's Quinn just has to stay poised, play in the offense, and just understand that he doesn't have to go out there and be Superman because he has so much talent around him. You got so many more weapons this year. You got A.D. Mitchell, you got Worthy, you got Sanders, you got Whittington, and then you got Jonathan Brooks in the backfield. So you got a lot of weapons. Just be you.
Now, Texas, they're up 63-50 in this rivalry. I think there's 5 ties in there. Texas, over the past couple of years, they have gotten out on Oklahoma early, but it seems like they get too complacent in the game. Do you think this Texas team is going to be, I want to say, more disciplined to where if they get out to a 14 or 17 point lead, they're not letting up on the brakes? They're not going to look ahead and think that they've got the win in the bag and end up letting Oklahoma back in this game for potentially a win? Oh, yeah,
that's definitely going to happen this year. Texas has played much better in the second half this year than they have in the first half. So I think Sark's biggest knock over his first 2 years was that he started off fast and he could never adjust in the second half. But this year it's kind of been the opposite. We started off really, I won't say slow, but we've kind of, just started off very technical. And then in that second half, he's opened it up, and we scored the majority of our points this year in the second half. And so that's a positive for Texas, is that they have been able to adjust this year. And they've been doing really good in that second half. So I'm telling you, man, it's going to be a dogfight here because, OU doesn't, actually allow people to score in the second half. Texas doesn't either, but OU scores a lot in the second half, and so does Texas. So somebody's going to break. Somebody's going to break, and I can't wait to see it, man.
Somebody's going to break, and this might be the perfect example to it. So I saw this from On3 Recruits earlier talking about just Oklahoma and Texas on the recruiting trail. Texas obviously beating Oklahoma in the 5 stars. They've always recruited really well, especially those 5-star prospects. Top 100 prospects, they're whooping Oklahoma, but 4 stars, that blue chip ratio, Oklahoma has the edge in this game. This is not something I feel like we'd look at a ton when it comes to matchups. So do you think something like this comes into play where, hey, maybe some of these young 5 stars for Oklahoma, like a PJ Adebayor, or you have Peyton Bowen come into play, or, hey, does the blue chip ratio favor Oklahoma in this game? I mean, clearly it says it here, but I mean, does it translate to the field?
Look, stars are stars, and kids get ranked, for a reason. But, I've seen the stat to where if you're not a high 4-star and you're just a regular 4-star, a guy that's not, like per the rival site, like a 6.0 or better, or On3, what's they're like 4-star plus or whatever.
Yeah, they're 5-star commit plus or whatever it is.
Yeah. If you're not in that caliber, that other 4-star that's not in that level is about as equal as a 3-star. There's nothing that really changes it. I've also read some things that say kids that aren't in the top 100, or I'm sorry, the top 150, it's like nuts and bolts after that, right? So it's just a matter of how these kids are getting developed, right? And so, we've seen from the defensive side of the ball where we have a guy like Jalen Ford, who's a 3-star, and we've seen that he has been developed. We've seen Barron Sorrell, he's been developed. Sweat, he was a high 3-star, 4-star. He's been developed. He's one of the best, I would say, tackles in the country for the defense side of the ball. Byron Murphy's a 3-star, right? And so we're having a defense that's fielded in that front 7 with a lot of 3-stars, or like low, like very low 4-stars. And it's been one of the best defenses here in the country and one of the tops here in the conference as well. So those kids that are those 5-stars and those very high 4-stars, those are the special ones. We all know who they are, right? You got your Quinn Ewers, you got your Jackson Arnold, right? You got your Anthony Hills, right? So, those guys are going to shine. You kind of expect it to happen. All the other players is, that's pretty much just all about development, right? And so I think both teams have done a great job with that.
All right. Well, ESPN, their matchup predictor, according to the ESPN analytics, I don't know what kind of analytics they use, but it actually favors Oklahoma here, 54.6% compared to 45.4%. So let's go ahead and let's put in the predictions. What do you think happens? What do you think Texas wins by? Because the over-under for Texas here, 6.5 points. And I hear what was it, like 90% of the bets have been on Texas this week. So it looks like a lot of people are favoring Texas here to go out there and win this game.
I got Texas by 10. I think Texas kind of continues their streak of beating folks by double digits this year. Look, I'm a fan of Texas, of course. I'm a grad, right? So, I'm gonna pick Texas regardless. But, but honestly, if I wasn't a fan of Texas, I just think Texas is going to win in the trenches this year, and I think that's going to settle the game. Oklahoma has to run the ball against Texas. I don't think Oklahoma has found a running back that can be that bell cow, so somebody that you can just kind of lean on. And so I think that's going to hurt them. I do like Dillon Gabriel in this offense. I thought it was basically the perfect marriage, for Lebby getting this old guy back. But Dillon Gabriel's arm, I don't think is the strongest, and yes, they've hit deep balls, but even that deep ball last week to Thompson, it was severely underthrown. Thompson had to readjust and come back to the ball, right? So, those can hurt you in the long run. They can help you too, because you can start, actually drawing some calls off those. But I just like Texas. I think Texas is talented all around from the defensive side of the ball. I think Texas from the offensive side of the ball, especially on that line, they're just starting to gel right now. So Campbell's coming in and kind of, just taking that job at the right guard, and they're running right behind him pretty much every game. And I tell you what, it's been very fun to see not only Jonathan Brooks run, but also Baxter and also Blue as well. And I think Texas also on the edges, Worthy and Mitchell. It's going to be a lot of trouble. We got a lot of weapons. Last year Texas had to depend on Worthy to be the guy on every passing down. He was playing out of position pretty much. And so now, just having Mitchell, there, actually on the boundary side of the field, it helps out Worthy so much more, man, and it just opens the field. So I think Texas has, I'm not saying OU doesn't have any talent because they got a ton of talent. I just think Texas is going to win in the trenches, and I think they win by 10 points.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and give you my score prediction here, and it kind of lines up with the over-under, which is set at 60, which tells you Vegas thinks this is going to be a defensive battle because of what both teams have been doing, which is it's really weird to say. The Red River Showdown is going to be a defensive battle, or at least that's what we expect. But
yeah,
no, I think, I told you earlier I was going back and forth. My heart wants me to pick Oklahoma. And if I pick Oklahoma, I'm picking a 34-31 victory for them. But my mind and statistically, or not statistically, but my mind's telling me, man, Texas is just really good. They're hard to beat. They've been battle tested. But also at the same time, I feel like Texas is expecting to come in and win this game. And I feel like that could be at their disadvantage. So the more and more I think about it, the more and more I try to talk myself in Oklahoma, I think I'm going to go 34-31. I think I'm obligated to pick Oklahoma at this point.
Yeah, you're obligated. That's your squad, man. That's your squad.
I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take over 60, right? 65 points, 34-31. I think that's still a pretty good game than what we've had in the past in terms of defense for both teams, because you don't really get into the 40s, and I think a lot of people would walk away from that game feeling really happy.
Yeah, I got 34-24, man. That's my score. Same score as Bama. 34-24.
All right. Maybe that one will be your guys' lucky score this year. Maybe going into the playoffs. So,
but it doesn't matter. Honestly, I think Texas and OU are the two best teams in the conference. Whoever loses this weekend, I don't think they lose another game in the season. I think these two teams match up again in the Big 12 championship. And that could be for all the marbles. That could be for the college football championship, right? So, yeah, man. Look, I like both teams' chances after this weekend to win out as well, and also see each other. I want to see Texas and OU see each other again because I want the Big 12 commissioner to have to be pissed as hell sitting in the stands watching the two teams that are leaving fight for his trophy.
Now, does Greg Sankey show up to that game as well?
Yes, he does, because he's coming to this game. He's coming to this game.
I know he's coming to this game.
Yeah, I would too. Just because. Because I would do it just because.
That'd be awesome and just so petty. So I gotta ask before I gotta let you go, right? Texas Tech. It's on Friday, November 24th at 6:30.
We're gonna kill
ABC. Them. If y'all beat Oklahoma, is there going to be this mental thing with Texas fans?
No. Well, you got to understand. Maybe with the fans, but the players, I mean, that was so long ago. That was 2009. So you're looking at, 14 years ago. Some of these kids were 4 years old. They don't, it is what it is. They're just they remember the Texas Tech game from last year. That's the one that stings. And so they're going to want that back in blood. Honestly, this year, they're going to want that back in blood. So if Texas wins out and we're playing against Texas Tech in the end of the season and all those comments that were made, I feel sorry for Joey McGuire.
I just, I don't know. I look at it and I say, man, ABC's already set that one up. I guarantee you, we've talked about Oklahoma and Texas getting screwed on calls. Texas might be getting screwed that night. So
that's what we just got to take it to them, put the foot in the throat and keep going.
Yeah. So, hey, well, before I let you go, because I know we're recording this on a Wednesday night, you're going over to the SEC Connect, but where can people find you at? Where can people go find your channel?
Yeah, man. So go to YouTube. It's going to be Nino's Corner Sports. You'll see me up there. Also go to ninoscornersports.com. That's my website. I do a lot of Texas stats and stuff. Also SEC Connect. I record every Wednesday night at 7 Central. And then on Fridays with the Bleacher Report, we do every Friday morning. This week is 11 o'clock. I can't make that one because I got to work. But yeah, we're on my channel, the SEC Connect, was me, Ty from ATS Sports, Steven from FP, Jay from Unfair Sports, and Chris from the Hornstown Podcast. And yeah, Fridays is also just a Bleacher Report. So yeah, tune in, man. We do the College Live Pick'ems on Friday, and it's just a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
All right. Sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, you know what? We got to take care of the housekeeping, guys. If you haven't already, you know what you got to do. If you're listening to this on any of the podcast platforms, do whatever they do, whether it's leaving a review or 5 stars or whatever. Just do whatever those platforms want you to do. But if you're watching this on YouTube, which is where a lot of you guys listen to this, make sure you hit that like and hit that subscribe button, because we are working on bringing you guys a lot of college football content this week. It's a great week for college football games. And yeah, that's going to be it. So until next time, OU's going to win this one.
OU sucks. Hook 'em.